another video. So we finna get ready to do Disney story time, just reading stories. Hold on. So the first one is Disney Lady and the Tramp, like father, like son. Tramp had a whole new life. He had gone from being a stray to becoming a member of the Deer household. And now he and Lady were proud parents. But Tramp was finding it difficult to change some of his ways. Tramp, Lady said gently, you need to set an example for the puppies, especially Scamp. Scamp had an adventurous side, just like his dad, so it wasn't surprising that father and son often got carried away when they played together. They couldn't resist the urge to roll in a puddle of mud and then chase each other across the clean kitchen floor. Aunt Sarah and her two troublesome cats were going to be visiting soon. Lady was worried about how Tramp and Scamp would behave. Don't worry, I promise to keep Scamp away from those troublemakers, Tramp said. And, replied Lady, and I promise to stay away from them too, Tramp added. When the big day came, Lady and Tramp herded their pups into a bedroom and told them to stay put. But Scamp was curious. He slipped out of the room and hid behind the living room sofa. Then he sneaked up behind the cats and swiped at their tails. As they flicked back and forth, the cats turned and chased Scamp into a cupboard. Seconds later, Scamp emerged. When no one was looking, he and his father shared a victory wink. Father and son were banished to the garden for their antics. When Lady came out that evening, she found that they had dug up the entire garden looking for bones. The two saw the look on Lady's face and knew that they were about to get a lecture. Tramp looked at Lady innocently. You want him to get exercise, don't you? He asked. What am I going to do with you two? Lady said, laughing. Excuse me. Lady said, laughing. Tramp and Scamp dragged a huge bone out from behind the doghouse. Join us for dinner, Tramp replied. Well, all right, Lady said, but as soon as we're done, we're cleaning up this yard. Yes, ma'am. Of course, Tramp and Scamp looking very pleased with themselves. The end. Next, we got Disney, The Jungle Book. We're the vultures. Nothing exciting ever happens around here, Buzzy complains to his vulture singing buddies. That's not true, said Flaps. What about that fight we had with the tiger, Shere Khan, last week? Blimmy, you're right, said Ziggy. That was pretty exciting. But what are you going to do now? Asked Buzzy. Excuse me. Let's sing, suggested Ziggy. Only one problem, said Dizzy. We need a tenor. So, what are we going to do? Asked Buzzy. How about we hold an audition, suggested Ziggy. Good thinking, said Flaps. So the vultures put the word out in the jungle, and a week later there was a line of animals ready to try out for the group. First up was a monkey. Name? Buzzy asked the first applicant. Coconut, the monkey replied. Coconut. All right, Coconut, let's hear you sing, said Flaps. Coconut shrieked for a few minutes, and the four vultures huddled together. He's not very good, said Buzzy. And he's a monkey, added Flaps. Next, said Dizzy, the vultures auditioned a lemur, two sloths, a wolf, a hippo, a toad, and an elephant. None seemed like the right fit. Finally, another vulture stepped up. Name's Lucky, said the vulture. Hey, aren't you the four fellas that helped that little man cub scare away that tiger, Shere Khan? Yeah, said Buzzy, we are. Then I guess you four might be called Lucky yourselves, cried Lucky. Go ahead and sing, said Ziggy, rolling his eyes. Lucky sang for a few minutes, and then the four vultures huddled together. He's not bad, said Dizzy. Plus, he's a vulture, said Ziggy. And he's the last auditioner left, pointed out Flaps. That settled it. You're hired, the vulture sang. See, told you I was lucky, cried the vulture. But only with auditions, said Dizzy. Yeah, said Buzzy. When we meet Shere Khan again, we'll see how lucky you really are. The end. Okay, Disney Princess Cinderella. Fit for a princess. Cinderella hummed to herself as she slipped a silver needle through the colorful fabric. She had been working hard on her new quilt for weeks, and it was finally almost finished. Cinderella knew the quilt would be fit for a princess. The worn fabrics were colorful and soft, and with the cotton stuffing she'd found in the attic, the quilt would be wonderfully cozy. No more shivering under her threadbare blanket, Gus agreed. He couldn't help but climb between the sewn together quilt fabric and snuggle into the cotton filling. Susie and Pearlo, who were helping Cinderella with the sewing, giggled. Go and get us some more thread, sleepyhead, they called. But Gus was already dozing off. The sound of his snores drifted out from between the layers of Gus, Jock called. But the snores only got louder. That mouse hasn't helped with this quilt one bit, Jack sighed and went to get the spools of thread himself. Cinderella was just sewing together the last edge of the quilt when loud footsteps echoed on the attic stairs. It was her stepsister, Anastasia. A moment later, she stormed into the room carrying a fancy blue gown. My dress was not ironed properly, she shouted. Can't you do anything right? Then she spotted the quilt. It's beautiful, she cried. and it would look wonderful on my bed. Cinderella looked at Anastasia in shock. Would her stepsister really steal her quilt? She knew Anastasia and Drusilla could be mean, but that would be downright cruel. Suddenly, the quilt began to move. A moment later, Gus's quivering nose poked out from between the unsewn pieces of fabric. A rodent! A rodent, Anastasia screamed. She dropped her dress in fright and leaped into a small wooden chair. Excuse me. Why, that quilt isn't fit for use in this stable, she cried. Cinderella tried not to laugh as her stepsister leaped off the chair and fled down the stairs. John and Gus climbed the rest of the way out of the quilt. Well, Gus, Jack said, I guess you did end up helping with the quilt after all. The end. Disney Princess, Beauty and the Beast. How to win at hide and seek. Bella, Mrs. Pot called. Oh, Belle. Belle was sitting in her bedroom surrounded by a pile of books. There you are, Mrs. Pot cried. Hi, Belle. Mrs. Pot's son, Chip, chimed in. Hello to both of you. Were you looking for me? Belle asked Mrs. Potts. As a matter of fact, I was, Mrs. Potts told her. I was just stopping by to inquire as to whether or not you would like some tea. Thank you, Belle said. I would love some. Mrs. Potts poured. Mrs. Pot poured Belle a piping hot cup of tea. Belle took a sip and thanked her. Mrs. Pot soon headed back to the kitchen, but Chip stayed behind. He wanted to play with Belle. How about a game of hide and seek? Belle asked the small teacup. How do you play that? Chip asked. It's simple, Belle said. One person hides and the other person tries to find him. I can do that, Chip said. Of course you can, Belle told him. So do you want to be the hider or the seeker? I want to be the hider, Chip told her. Okay, Belle said. I closed my eyes and count to 10. 1, 2, 3. Chip took off, darting behind the curtains just as Belle called. 10. Ready or not, here I come. Now where could he be? Belle looked under the table. He isn't there, she said. Then she looked in the corner. He isn't there either. She looked high and low, but she couldn't seem to find Chip anywhere. I give up, Belle said. Come out, wherever you are. Chip silently giggled from behind the curtain, but he was careful not to make too much noise. He was having fun. It seemed that Chip doesn't want to come out from his hiding place, Belle said. I guess that means I have to eat a slice of Mrs. Potts' chocolate cake all by myself. When he heard that, Chip jumped out from his hiding place and called out to Belle. Here I am. Wait for me. The end. Disney Princess. Disney the Lion King. Scaredy cats. Nala, Simba whispered. Are you awake? Yes, Nala whispered back, stepping out of the dark cave where she slept with her mother. Why are you here? You're going to get us in trouble again. Earlier, Simba and Nala had gone to explore the forbidden elephant graveyard, where they almost been eaten by hyenas. Come on, Simba hissed. Follow me. Soon the two cubs were on the dark savannah near the base of Pride Rock. What do you want anyway? Nala asked. I just wanted to make sure you weren't still scared, Simba said. Nala scowled at him. Scared? She exclaimed. I'm not the one who was scared. What? Simba cried. You're not saying I was scared, are you? Because there's no way I'd be scared of a few stupid hyenas. I wouldn't have been scared even if we ran into 100 hyenas. Talk that talk. Okay. Well, I wouldn't have been scared even if we saw 200 hyenas and an angry water buffalo, said Nala. Oh, yeah, Simba said. Well, I wouldn't have been scared of 300 hyenas and an angry water buffalo and a furious hornbill. A new voice squawked from the darkness. Ah, Simba and Nala cried, jumping straight up in the air. A brightly colored bird stepped out of the shadows. It was Zazu, Simba's father, most trusted advisor. Zazu, Simba cried. You scared us. I wasn't scared, Nala said with a scowl. Me neither, Simba added quickly. Zazu glared at both of them over his long beak. Not scared, were you? He said dryly. That certainly explains the shrieking. You just startled us, Nala mumbled. Zazu fluffed his feathers. Listen up, you two, he said. Everyone gets scared. It's how you respond to it that counts. That's where the true bravery lies. Get it? Got it, Simba and Nala said. Good. Zazu marched toward Pride Rock. The sun was coming up, and it was time for breakfast. Now let's get you back home, Paseste, or I'll give you something to be scared of. The end. Disney Peter Pan. The Lost Boys get lost. The Lost Boys were walking single file through the woods of Neverland on their way home after an afternoon of adventure seeking when Slightly, who led the way, stopped in his tracks on the bank of Mermaid Lagoon. The others, Rabbit, the Raccoon Twins, Cubby, and Toodles, came to an abrupt halt behind him. Wait a minute, said Slightly. We already passed Mermaid Lagoon. What are we doing here again? Behind the bush, Tinkerbell giggled as she watched the Lost Boys looking around in confusion. Tink had spotted them on their march and had not been able to resist playing a joke. She had flown ahead of them and used her fairy magic to make various landmarks on their route home look different than normal. Now, here they were, walking past Mermaid Lagoon when Slightly remembered passing the same spot a good while back. I think we're walking in circles, Slightly proclaimed. Lost Boys, I think we're lost. Tinkerbell overheard and tried desperately to stiffen her louder. But before she could contain it, one giggle exploded into a full-fledged laugh. And, hey, said Cubby, did you hear that? He darted over to the bush, growling alongside the path, and moved the branch to one side. There was Tinkerbell, hovering in midair, holding her stomach and shaking with laughter. Tinkerbell, cried Toodles. It didn't take them long to work out that Tinkerbell was laughing at them, and that she was the cause of their confusion. Still laughing, Tinkerbell flitted away, taking her normal route home to the fairy glade. Left at the weeping willow tree, right just before a sparrow bird grove, right again at Spiky Road. Excuse me. Let's see, where do we start? Let's start. Still laughing, Tinkerbell flitted away, taking her normal route home to the fairy glade. Left at the weeping willow tree, right just before Sparrowbird Grove, right again at Spiky Rock, and on toward the sparkling stream, which led to the Moon Falls and the fairy glade entrance. But wait a minute. After turning right at Spiky Rock, Tinkerbell saw no sign of the sparkling stream anywhere. Where was she? She had gotten completely lost. Now she done got lost herself. The end, y'all. Okay, so let's see. I think we got... No, we got 4 more, I think. Yeah, we got Disney, Winnie the Pooh next. Disney, Winnie the Pooh. Say Pooh. Say Pooh. Christopher Robin says it's time for my animal checkout, said Pooh. Check out, cried Piglet. Oh, poor Pooh, you're sick. Sick, asked Pooh. No, I'm fine. Though I must say I'm feeling a bit rumbly in my tumbly. Let's go together, said Piglet. It's so much friendly with 2. So Pooh and Piglet climbed the ladder up to Al's house. Christopher Robin, why do I need an animal checkout anyway? Asked Pooh once they had arrived at Al's house. Silly old bear, said Christopher Robin. Not an animal checkout, an annual checkup. We need to make sure you are healthy and strong. Rabbit waved Pooh and then told him to go into Al's room. Piglet wished him good luck. Once Pooh and Christopher Robin were inside, Al entered with a flourish. Well, if it isn't Winnie the Pooh, he said. Splendid day for a checkup, isn't it? I say, how are you feeling? A bit flippy-floppy in my tummy, actually, said Pooh. Oh, Al felt Pooh's tummy. He felt around Pooh's neck and under his arms and said that everything seemed to be right where it should be. Pooh was glad. Then Al pulled a small rubber hammer from his bag. Reflex checking time, he said grandly. What's a reflex? Asked Pooh. Al tapped Pooh's knee and his leg gave a little kick. Oh, do that again, said Pooh. That was fun. So Al tapped Pooh's other knee and that leg gave a little kick too. Then Al said, sit right here. It's time for your shot. I know it will only hurt for a moment, and it will keep me from getting bumps and weasels, Pooh said bravely. That's mumps and measles, Pooh, said Al. Piglet came in and sat right next to Pooh while he had his injection. When Al was done, Rabbit popped back in with a bandage for Pooh's arm. Wow, said Piglet, you didn't even make a sound. An annual checkup is no problem for a brave bear like Pooh, said Christopher Robin. I'm just that sort of bear, thought Pooh with a smile. The end. Disney Pixar Bugs Life. The Flying Blueberries. Everyone in the ant colony was in a good mood. The grasshoppers had been driven off once and for all, and none of the ants had even been hurt. But Flick's amazing fake bird had taken quite a beating, and the blueberries were determined to fix it. Fixing that bird is a big job, said Mr. Sewell, Dot's teacher, but I know the blueberries can do it. The blueberries stared at the fake bird. It was one big mess. I'll be back in a little while to see how you're doing, said Mr. Sewell. With a tear, the blueberries went to work. Some picked new leaves to cover the frame. Others glued those leaves into place with sticky honey. After hours of hard work, the bird was fixed. Let's sit in it, Dot said. Just as the blueberries crawled inside the bird, the wind began to blow. Suddenly, the breeze caught the fake wings. The bird took off. It was up to Dot to save the day. Excuse me. It was up to Dot to save the day. Let's see. Where we stop it. She hopped into the pilot seat and took control. The bluebirds flew around Ant Island once, then twice. Soon they weren't afraid. Look, screamed Rose. Real birds are attacking the worker ants. Dot jiggled the controls. The fake bird dove out of the sky and frightened the real birds away. Hooray, yelled the blueberries. You did it, Dot. Don't cheer yet, Dot cried. This contraption is out of control. With a bump and a crash, the bird hit the ground and skidded, skidded, skidded to a halt. It's wrecked again, said Rose. And here comes Mr. Sewell. He's going to be so mad. But surprisingly, Mr. Sewell was smiling. You're heroes, he told them. You saved the working ants. But the bird is wrecked again, said Rose. And you can fix it again, too, Mr. Sewell replied. And here's a merit badge for you. Princess, in honor of your first flight, Mr. Sewell continued. I was confused. I've already made my first flight, she said, fluttering her tiny wings. Excuse me. Ah, but this is a special badge. Mr. Sewell replied, it's for making your first flight not using your wings but using your head. The end. So now we got two more. We got the Little Mermaid and Disney Robin Hood. I think that's it. Let me see. Yeah, because we don't do that one another day. Disney Princess, The Little Mermaid, a special surprise. The underwater kingdom was quiet and peaceful. Every mermaid and merman was in bed fast asleep. Everyone it is, but Princess Ariel and her friend Flounder, they never sleep. They never sleep. Trying not to make a sound, Ariel and Flounder swam away from King Trident's palace and began their journey toward the surface. Ariel wasn't going to let anything ruin her plans for tonight. Prince Eric, the prince she had saved from a shipwreck, was having a royal ball. Ariel had a very special surprise for him. Swim faster, Flounder, she cried. Flounder raced to keep up. Just as Ariel and Flounder approached the surface, Ariel saw beautiful lights dance across the water. When they poked their heads out into the air, Ariel and Flounder saw colorful lights explode in the sky above Prince Eric's castle. I've never seen anything so beautiful in all my life, said Ariel, breathlessly. The human world is such a wonderful place. Yeah, alright. It sure is pretty, said Flounder. Off in the distance, Prince Eric stood on the palace balcony. He didn't feel like joining in the royal celebration. He couldn't stop thinking about the mysterious girl with the lovely voice who had saved his life in the shipwreck. Ariel's heart leaped with joy when she saw Prince Eric. It's time for my surprise, she said. Right, asked Flounder. With a nod, Ariel closed her eyes, opened her mouth, and began to sing. Suddenly, the night was filled with the sweet sound of Ariel's voice. Hearing her beautiful voice again, Eric's face lit up. It can't be, he said. Eric remained on the balcony, enchanted by the beautiful song, filling the night air. When the song was over, Eric looked out across the sea. He hoped to catch a glimpse of the wonderful girl who had saved him. Where could she be? Who are you? He called out into the night, but all he heard was the echo of his own voice. I'll be back soon, Ariel whispered, as she and Flounder swam toward home. Just wait and see. The end. So the last one is Disney Robin Hood, stuck in the mud. Come on, Robin, Little John called as he stepped over a fallen log. Shh. Robin put a finger to his lips. I think I hear something. Let's have a look-see, said Little John. A minute later, they stopped at the edge of the forest and peered out from behind a bush. There, stuck in the muddy ditch, was a fancy coach. I know that coach anywhere, Robin whispered. It belongs to Prince John. Get me out of the mud now, a voice whined from inside the coach. It was Prince John, all right. The driver's shoulders slumped. But, sir, the coach is laden with gold. I'll never be able to push it out by myself. Perhaps your highness would consider stepping out of the coach so as to lighten the load. Step out of the coach, Prince John bellowed, and stand in the rain? I most certainly will not. I believe I have a plan that will help Prince John and his driver, Robin said, not to mention the poor. Little John nodded with a grin. He knew exactly what sort of plan his friend had in mind. Robin reached into his satchel, pulled out a few items, and put them on. Little John did the same. Now they looked like two ordinary hunters on a walk. Excuse me. Little John stepped onto the road. Need some help here? Oh, hold on. Little John stepped onto the road. Need some help there? He asked the driver loudly. I'd be more than happy to lend a hand. Meanwhile, Robin sneaked around to the side of the coach. He was just opening the door when Prince John leaned out the window on the other side. Hurry up, you fools, he hollered. Robin saw his chance. While the prince was distracted, he opened the other door and removed several bags of gold. Get pushing then, Prince John snapped. I said I'd be glad to, Little John replied. He strolled to the back of the coach and, along with the driver, gave a single push. And while Robin slipped into the woods with the gold, Prince John and his muddy wheeled coach rode down the road to Nottingham. The load just a little bit lighter than before. The end. Okay, so I think that was the last one. Yeah, that was the last one. We're going to do this one. I think we did this on a separate video, though. But yeah, all this is going to be on a separate video. And this is the book right here. It's Disney 365 Bedtime Stories. I either got this off Amazon or Walmart. I think I got it off Amazon. I think it was like $10 or $9. But yeah, let's see So it's supposed to have 365 stories in it, and we already almost done. Here it is right there.